In this video, I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of a snapshot of a section that we do in our data analytics workshop, which helps non-IT, non-data science employees to go on this journey of understanding how to use ChatGPT more than just asking it questions. And I'm going to show you 3 different examples or scenarios as we go through this. The first is thinking about ChatGPT as a system rather than a Q&A machine. In the second, we're going to look at how we can analyze some data in a more professional way than just asking it simple questions. And then in the third scenario, we're going to look at giving ChatGPT access to tools to be able to do things in other systems. So let's dive in. So firstly, when we think about building a system, let's think about what ChatGPT is. It is very good at predicting the next token or the next word in a phrase or a sentence. So let's look at some examples. If you've got children, you should know what the end of this sentence is. The cat sat on the mat. Exactly. Very good for learning your early language. How about this one? A rolling stone gathers no moss. So you know the word that is coming up at the end. Let's do some maths. 1 + 1 = 2. You don't actually need to do the adding. You just know 1 + 1 = 2. Again, if you've got children, they might be learning their times tables. 6 6s are 36. Children know to learn that phrase. They're not actually timesing 6 by 6 each time. They just know 6 6s are 36. But let's try something a little bit more complicated. 15 to the power of 3 times 12 to the power of 7 divided by 13. Well, we are not able to predict the next token in that. You actually have to do some calculating. And so what I hope you can see in these examples is the difference between just predicting the next word or token, or in this case, a written number, and actually doing some calculations. If you are passing quite complex numbers and data sets into ChatGPT and just asking it to predict the answer, you're very likely to come up with scenarios where it gets it wrong because it's predicting the next number and getting it incorrect. And this is where we need to build more of a system rather than just asking ChatGPT to do it. So let's take a look at what I mean by building a simple calculator. So here we are just in ChatGPT. I'm just in 4.0 here. I'm going to say, can you build me a retro calculator to use to do some maths? So we asked that to ChatGPT, and what we can see on the screen now is that ChatGPT is actually writing the basic code to be able to render a calculator on our screen. Now, you don't need to be a developer to read what's going on the right. This is just to show you what is happening. So here we go. Here is a simple retro style calculator you can use directly in the browser. So let's go up to preview here. Okay, here's our calculator. So 9 times 7 equals 63. 3 times 6 equals, well, I've gone further on there. I need to clear. 3 times 6 equals 18. There we go. Now, what's different between asking here, what is 3 times 6? Over here, ChatGPT is probabilistically determining what the answer is. So this is like our 6 6s are 36. The cat sat on the mat. It is predicting that the answer is 18. But over here on this side, this is actually using code to do the calculations. So this is actually always going to give us 18. If we put in 3 times 6 1,000 times into this right-hand side, we will always get 18. Whereas if on the left here, we start asking more complicated calculations, we may end up with things that are incorrect. So what I want to leave you with in this little section is just thinking about ChatGPT as a system. And how do we think about that in our work? Well, on the left-hand side, we've got probabilistic, ChatGPT predicting the next word, tell me the answer. And on the right-hand side, we've got the calculator that we just built, where it does exactly the same thing every time. And here is where we've asked ChatGPT to build me a system to tell me the answer. So if you've got any kind of more complicated data analytics, financial modeling, forecasting, any kind of more detailed number-based analytics, then you want to be thinking more about the right-hand side, about build me a system to tell me the answer, rather than asking ChatGPT to tell you the answer each time. Right, let's dive on to the second example. And here we're going to look at analyzing data sets. So you may have some data for product feedback from your customers. You may have some sales data. You may have some financial data from your accounts team. In this example, to make it relevant to anyone, I've just pulled some information from the UK's Civil Aviation Authority, which shows the number and types of flights for each airport in the UK, in this case, in June 2020, so middle of the pandemic. So what I'm able to do, if I dive over to ChatGPT again, and I'm just going to go to a new search here, a new question. I'm going to upload my June 2020 data, which is here. There we go. And so first off, I'm just going to say, please describe this data to me. And what ChatGPT does is loads that up as a table within ChatGPT. And what you can see down here is it's actually starting to analyze that data, not doing a predictive, what's the next token, but actually analyzing each of those rows. It consists of 57 rows, 16 columns. These are the key columns. These are the different types of movement tracked. Okay, excellent. Here's an example entry. Next steps, I can help you to summarize the top airports. So just to give you a bit of insight here, this is running its own Python script. You do not need to be a developer to be able to understand what's going on here. And this is very much in the same way that we did with the calculator. Instead of just predicting the next token or the next word, what ChatGPT is doing is building itself a mini system to be able to upload this data from the sheet, pull out the first few rows, and then start understanding what it's looking at so that it can then report back to you in its natural language format. So we've now got that data. What you can actually start to do in here is start to do various things with it. So we've got our reporting data, we've got the different airports. Here's the grand total, and here is air transport. So this is more passenger data. So I'm able to click on that, and I can say, can we add a new column which shows air transport as a percentage of the grand total. Maybe we want to see that. And this can work in a number of ways. You can highlight multiple rows, multiple columns. You can get it to combine various columns as you wish. You might get it to split. So this is quite easy. Over here, we've now got the air transport percent as a different column over here. What I'm now going to do is say, well, actually, I want to start visualizing this in a certain way. So great. Can you create a pie chart that shows all of the airports by percentage of traffic across all movement types. Okay. So once again, analyzing means it's creating its own system like we did with the calculator to work out what it needs to do and then write a script that is going to deliver that output that we want. So here is our chart. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, well, this is a bit of a mess because there's so many of them. It's difficult for us to see. So here we're going to say, great, can you consolidate everything under, let's say, 1.8% into an others category. And order the slices by percentage. Now, because it's built a system, we know that these numbers are accurate and reflect what is in the source spreadsheet. There is no probabilistic and guessing and coming up with what it thinks is the right answer. I can then make this interactive, and now we can slide around. So 31% is in the others. Heathrow is the largest, then Aberdeen, then Oxford. Okay, well, I would be thinking, okay, well, Gatwick is normally the second busiest airport. So where is Gatwick? How many flights did they have? And we're able to interrogate that data. Oh, okay, so it was tiny, only behind the 1.8%. All right, so this is the June 2020 data. I've also got the March 2025 data, which I'm going to upload. Now we're back post-pandemic now. So I have uploaded the March 2025 data set. Can you take a look and suggest 5 questions that I could ask of both data sets to understand how the pandemic affected air traffic in the UK? So once again, that's loaded it up so it understands exactly that it's the same format. It's now building its own calculator to create a script and then run that script. So we're not guessing or coming up with probabilistic. So how has total air traffic changed over time? Which airports saw the largest percentage increase or decrease in traffic? Okay. Well, let's ask this question here. Which airports saw the largest percentage decrease? And so you can start to get the idea here. So here we've got our air traffic changes. Okay, can you give this to me as a bar chart, just showing the airports, the top 10 airports with the biggest differences. So you can see you do not need to be a data analyst, a specialist in Power BI or Tableau. As long as you've got well-formatted source spreadsheets, you can start to work with this data. So here we go, top 10 airports by increase in aircraft movements. We can make that interactive so that we can play around with it. And so there we go. So yeah, Heathrow and Gatwick, the biggest differences from pandemic to March 2025. So let me flip back here. That gives you some insight into the data analytics. Some things to think about are different different use cases where this really comes into its own. So one, if you've got a very large data set and you're trying to find anomalies, like what's the gap, like what is different, what has changed in this data set? If you want to bring data sets together, maybe you've got 2 very large CSVs and you need to reconcile them or get them to merge together. That can be a very good use case to write the script to be able to do that. And then we were sort of touching on a little bit in this example, some advanced statistical analysis. So I want to compare these two data sets. I want to do some kind of regression analysis, or I want to look back into the past or forecast out into the future. So how might I be able to do that using ChatGPT? Now, to get the best results out of this data analytics process, it really is, if you put a good quality file in, you'll get good results out. So think about structured data going in. So Excel, CSVs, maybe a PDF, or if it's coming from another system, a JSON file. Ideally, you want a row one to be your nice descriptive column headers. You want one row per record, so not merged rows. And you'd want to avoid having different tables or sections on the same spreadsheet, or gaps in rows or columns, all of the kinds of things that would just make it difficult for ChatGPT to write a script that can run across all of that data. I showed you some of the interactive chart types. So there are more that will come, no doubt, in the future, but basically a bar chart, a pie chart, scatter and line charts can be interactive. And I showed you there also about uploading a couple of files in my scenario. You can upload up to 10 in one conversation. And if you want more, up to 20, you can add them to a GPT, which can then access those files if you've got code interpreter enabled on your GPT. So the third scenario that I want to show you is about giving ChatGPT access to tools. So many of the use cases that we often start with is we're going to ChatGPT and we're asking it questions, we're getting it to do stuff, but wouldn't it be great if it could actually access information that was in another system or put information into another system? So I'm going to show you an example with a very simple currency converter that I have created. So let me go over here to my currency converter. So there is a third-party website called exchangerate-api.com, which allows you to plug into and get exchange rates real time just through passing it some code. So what I've done is built a very simple backend that connects into that API, and I've plugged it into ChatGPT. So here, for example, I might say, how much is 100 pounds in yen? And what is happening here? So I'm talking to my currency converter. I need to allow it. It's the first time I've used it. Talking to my currency converter. 100 converts to approximately 19,851. Now let's just have a quick look at what's happened here. Because I asked it to convert, it has used that action of convert from GBP to Japanese yen, and the amount 100 is what has been sent over to this other system, and it has returned back the answer. I might want to know something a bit more detailed. Can you let me know what the 12-month trend has been between Swiss francs and the US dollar? Once again, the GPT knows that it needs to go and use the currency converter tool. It has said I need to do a historical trend and sent over, well, we need it for a year and from these currencies, and away we go. One other simple example, can you help me work out how much money I will need to convert for my holiday in Italy? And it's going to say, I probably need some more information. Right, I have a budget of, let's say, £500, and I will be there for 10 days, and I just need small food and shopping money. Just as an example, and this is now using the travel budget facility. So I'm there for 10 days. I've got £500. I'm going to get €580 to spend, giving me a daily budget of €58. So this is just an example of how we are able to access another system and pull that data into ChatGPT so that it is not making up and coming up with a probabilistic answer. It's actually bringing in the exact answer. So think about other tools that you could use in your own company. So could we be accessing specific files, maybe a policy or a process or a document template? Could we be going out to search the web? Could we be getting information from other company systems? Maybe we want to pull something in from Salesforce or from your accounting system or from your product. Maybe there are other applications that your team have built that perform specific calculations on your numbers. Maybe we want to send some notifications out to people once we've done some calculations in ChatGPT. And maybe once we've finished our chat, we want to put information into other systems, whether that is Salesforce or a marketing system or our accounts system. So there we go, 3 examples that can take your use of ChatGPT in a business context up a level. So think about building a system rather than writing a prompt. How do we get it to create the system that is going to give us the answer rather than asking it for the answer? How do we do some more advanced data analysis on the spreadsheets or CSVs that we've got access to? And start thinking about what tools we might give ChatGPT access to be able to pull context into ChatGPT or to be able to take out of ChatGPT and put it somewhere else. Now, if you're getting a bit stuck here and thinking, oh my goodness, I've got loads of ideas, but I don't know how to approach this, then this is exactly where Kowalah can come in and help you. Kowalah is a combination of both software and services from our team. And by signing up, you can then log expert requests and one of our team will jump on a call with you to help bring your idea to life. So to find out more information about that, just go to kowalah.com and we'll be happy to help you.